I'm Enol Gordon, and I'm married to this guy, my chief technical officer here, and we are founders of ReferenceMe.
I'm the co-founder, Gerald Gordon, and where I focus on is making sure that the technology is doing what it needs to do and that our processes are in place so that we can support our clients the best possible way. I remember thinking about this a while ago, and it's starting to come out in a lot of different publications where they have this notion of work-life balance. But when you're in a business, it's everything that you do that has to be balanced. And so compartmentalizing it is actually rather difficult, especially if you're passionate about what you're doing. So we're both co-owners of ReferenceMe, and it's pretty much woven into the fabric of our lives. There's no separate time where I'm like, okay, this is only ReferenceMe work and this is work, homework. Instead, we just marry the two things together and find the best possible times that we can work together. So the way that I would answer that question is more along the lines of it's incorporated into the fabric of our family of what we do.
I think my take on that is very different. Because I think if I was to bring in the professional relationship into the personal, it might get a little bit murky there. But I like to spend time with my kids. And so when we're doing that, our family time is family time, and trying to leave out the business from that. But in terms of the professional part, like I have times of the day that are woven out where I do ReferenceMe or business related things, because once the children get home from school, it's a little bit more difficult to keep that going. I think my strength is really getting to the heart of a person. So there's a difference between hearing what you say and understanding and really hearing your heart. Sometimes people call it the but of what a person is communicating, or the and of what the person is communicating. So that sometimes it may be during a meeting and someone is communicating something, but then asking more questions to get to the heart of what it is that they may not want to express. So I think my strength is that I'm very much a people person. I care deeply about individuals that I come in contact with, whether it's for 5 minutes or for the duration of however long, and that in every communication, the people I come in contact with can be left with the impact of the contact that we had together. So in terms of our business, because ReferenceMe stemmed from a situation that I had, and so in terms of our business, which deals with like the sensitivity of people being out of work, people having difficult time, when I'm in contact with our client, I like to hear more about, what is it that they enjoy outside of, say, their career, what is their family time like, so that we can develop that rapport, we can develop that connection that says, I do care about you. It's not just about helping someone to get a paycheck, but caring about them holistically. And I think many times when I communicate with people, that comes across, because it really is like my nature.
That is great description of NO in general. I think for me, the way we balance each other out is I'm definitely on the technical side and the logical side. And so I just thrive when it comes to using technology to help people. I desire to see exactly what they're trying to go and then move the technology, modify it in such a way that actually presents you in the best possible light. And so the things that I feel that I bring to the table the most is making decisions without a lot of information. And so being able to be concise and understand what's going on around me and then making the decision. The other thing that I definitely pride myself on is I've been in the hiring space for over 20 plus years. And I've gotten to see a lot. talent coming from the manufacturing space, from the technology space, from the engineering space. And when you see those different things, you develop an archetype of how you interact with people. And so I'm always looking at what's best for them based off of what they share with us, and then the technology of how we can enhance their experience. And so I would say I'm much more logical and associated with the technology. And then Anna, my beautiful wife, is more about the people and drawing out the clarity that they need in order for them to do what they do.
In terms of reference me, I mean, our desire is that it really will become like a household name, in the sense that, when you're going to go and apply for a job, it really takes time for references to be validated. In the meantime, you're waiting, not knowing when and if you're going to be hired, because of the process can be very lengthy. And so it is our vision that in the future, when someone goes for a job, just like how it's like, oh, you need your resume, you need your ReME. Oh, do you have your ReME with you, is what the companies will ask. So I think for us, the success of Reference Me is the notoriety of Reference Me and it being accessible to people across the different job market.
Yeah. Now, in our home, we're a faith-based home. So it's critical that everything that we do is aligned with what God has put in our heart to do. And so one of the things that looks like success to me will probably happen far later in years. But my prayer is that when I'm standing before God, he can at least acknowledge or help me understand that we were able to carry out the purpose that he put inside of us. And that is to be a blessing, to be helpful, to be able to serve the people that we support. And so for me, that's a big part of the success side. And then after that, I want thousands and thousands of people using Reference Me. I want them to know that by using this platform and connecting with us, that they were able to actually land the jobs, not just any job, but the job of their dreams. And so we've had many situations where there are a lot of people currently out of work, but they're reevaluating whether they wanted to do that job in the first place. And we want to be able to come in, really dig deep into what is it that they do well and what they're passionate about, and then help them go after those roles and also be compensated for the skill sets that they have versus just doing something because they need a paycheck. That is the difference between what we do and what others do. Our job is not just to help you get a job. We want you to find your dream role. And if you're willing to put in that work to do that, then that's what looks like success. Success knowing that you did everything that you're supposed to do. You presented yourself the best possible way and you landed your dream role. That's where I envision success.
I think it's really neat to own a company together. I don't know about the challenges because, like, they come up, we address it and move on. Usually it's just about our schedules. That's what can be challenging, is the schedule, because our vision is aligned and the end goal is aligned, which is being a blessing to others. But I think navigating how to sometimes work together in the time when you also have the demands of family life is where the challenge comes in. If we are on vacation, we try to make it that it is family time, or once the kids are home from school, understanding that we need a X amount of time to be able to assist them with their work and things like that. I think it's just respecting and understanding the boundaries that we have.
Yeah, I think Anil summed it up perfectly when you think about how to navigate this environment, especially with the way things are today. We want to be respectful for the time that we put aside for our family, but we also want to make sure that we're checking in with each other all the time. So it's important that we may have made a decision on Monday, but by time Friday comes, it could be something have changed. And it's important for us to reconnect, make sure that we are all on the same page so that the outcome on Friday would be what it needs to be, because life hits you so many different ways and these changes can cause disruption in plans. And so the closer we are communicating our plans is the way that we overcome a lot of the challenges. Now, there are still some challenges that we haven't overcome yet, and we're looking for those things in the future. But we do have the same desire to bless people with what God has given us. And that has been a really exciting part of being in business together.
I know that there are many different ways that people address it, but because we are faith-based home, generally we pray, honestly. That's how we make our decisions. There are some decisions that we can just, talk it through, the cons, the pro, what's practical, what makes sense, what does not. But at the end of the day, depending on the gravity of the situation, then we pray about it, and then we then can discern what it is that the direction that would be best for ourselves, our family, in addition to if it's pertaining to a decision that's going to affect others, so that that's going to affect others, that we're also taking into consideration that they are also children of God, and how is it that we can address that situation so that relationship or the situation is resolved in an amicable way, in a productive way, and in a way that all parties walk away feeling like that the situation was resolved well.
Yeah, this one's a hard one.
Yeah.
There's no easy way to express it. We do have disagreements and we do go through challenges sometimes. But what I do love about NL and how we do resolve them is we both go to prayer individually just to make sure that we're in the right place and we're thinking about it the right way. And then we come together and we have those conversations while we've already surrendered ourselves to God to talk about the things that we want to talk about, especially when there's difficult conversations that we have to be had. And then we try not to let it linger too long. So if there is something that we need to do, we don't wait months to have the conversation. We try to have it closer to the time in which the situation needs to be resolved, and that has helped. But overall, I think that the way that we make difficult decisions is all based in our faith.
It was just out of a need. I was applying for different roles as a new graduate from college looking for work, and role to role they were asking for my references. And so I had one person that I would refer, for my references in addition to others. But I saw where the challenge was that the individuals never knew when my potential employer would be calling them. And so it could be during your work hours, or even from the employer perspective, they're trying to chase down the people for a time to finally connect. So I made a comment to my husband. I said, wouldn't it be great that maybe like after college or whatever work you've done, there was a way that people could kind of write about you, the work you did, like vouch for you, and then that they could somehow capture it so that when you go to different interviews, they wouldn't need necessarily have to be called in order to speak about the type of work that you did for that company. And so that's really how ReferenceMe was birthed. And we're happy with the product. It's working, and people are using it, and we're pleased. So I think it's serving the intention that it was created and the problem that I had. It's being solved for others.
Yeah, I definitely can talk to this one. One was really, really exciting. What happened was the person, when they came to us, we want to support more than just the references, because in order to get a job today, you need more than that. You need to know how to interview. You got to have a good resume. You got to have LinkedIn set up. You should have a cover letter. And then resume is a part of that process. So if you think about it, it's more than just references. However, references do help you stand out, especially if you're a knowledge worker and you have a lot of experience. So we had one of our clients come to us who had a tremendous amount of experience. And so they were easily able to use ReferenceMe in order to collect their references. So we collected all their references. We got the references certified. She put them on her resume, and within a month, she had an offer. That has been the fastest time. So in about 3 weeks from T0, when we first understood what the candidate wanted to do and where they wanted to go, to actually having an offer in hand, that happened within 1 month. And so that was a major one. Another situation is more along the lines of someone who knows exactly what they want to do. They don't want to compromise and work on just getting a job. They wanted to actually find a job that matches them, and they were willing to take the time to do that. And so when we first started working with them, they got a couple of interviews, but they realized that it's not moving as fast as they wanted to move. And so we plugged in ReferenceMe into their situation and helped them with a couple of other things. And they've noticed a dramatic 50% and more dramatic number of interviews just by including ReferenceMe as part of their process. And so when we look at just those two examples, and of course there are many more, those have been very dramatic for us, because being able to be in one state and then infusing ReferenceMe, and all of a sudden you see this great outcome on the end, it's rewarding for us, and we want other people to experience that same behavior. So yeah, we know that we have something special. We want to be able to connect with college students as well, because we know that when college students are coming out, they're meeting a very fierce job market.
Yeah.
8,000 people applying for one role. Well, then how do you stand out? Well, using ReferenceMe to talk to your professors or talk to the people who are doing internships or things of that nature is an immediate way to show that your experience lines up with what you said in your resume, which will line up with what the job requirements are. Skills and references are the way of the future. Everybody is looking for authenticity, and they want approval. They want to know that you are able to do the job based off of your previous experiences. Essentially, we work with you to gather 10 references or so. And what we mean by references, these are people that you've worked with in the past that actually can vouch for the fact that you are able to do X, Y, and Z. Then once you have those people, it's very easy. You go into the application and you put in their phone number, their email address, and then we send a link to them via email. When they click on that link, it's like a survey monkey. They answer 10 questions. And then after they answer those 10 questions, we use natural language processing and AI to generate the references from the questions that were asked. And then you, as a reference writer or referee, you would look at the 3 different choices. You could modify the information. You hit save. And the minute they hit save, that reference becomes part of the candidate's profile. Once the reference is in the profile, we also verify that reference. And what that means is that anybody can write a reference for anyone, but we actually call the referee and have a quick conversation with them about what they wrote, and to ensure that what they said in their reference matches the work that the person said they did. And we also have their resume as well. So we're tying all these things together, and we give you a score. And then that score, if it's high enough, you get a digital medallion that says that this reference was certified. And so that's how our process works.
The ideal client is really someone who's looking for a job. That's the ideal client, because the tool is meant to help you get a job. And so, yes, we work with high level, manager, CEO, whatever, anyone that needs to use the tool, but really it's for If you're looking for a job, you need reference me. It's like saying, who is a resume for? Well, a resume you need for any job that you apply for so that people can see your work history. It's the same with reference me. What we're saying is, let us help you through the process of validating your references, getting it into the hands of the hiring people, forgive me, managers, before you even walk into the room. It's like you're already having cheerleaders for you, right? Even before you walk into the room, because those managers who are interviewing you are going to already receive all of these great things that others have said about you before you walk into the room.
And I'll add on to that, we have 2 levels that we really focus on. The very senior level. So me being a hiring manager for almost 20 plus years, my wife's been in industry for 15, 20 years in her profession. So we definitely resonate with those who are very senior in their role and they're trying to move to do something else. We definitely use that as one of our archetypes. And then the other archetype is going to be companies. We want to work with colleges, and we want those colleges to actually utilize ReferenceMe as a way to help their students stand out. So it's either going to be working with colleges as a ReferenceMe product, or our coaching program where we actually help individuals, especially those who are on the senior side, get roles. But we understand that this is a very tough job market. So our desire is to help anyone who is looking for a job, but our primary archetypes are very senior people and also the students. So if you want to find more information about ReferenceMe, just go to referenceme.ai.com and schedule a meeting with us. We want to make sure that we truly understand what people are looking for. So we didn't want to just have you sign up. We want you to schedule a meeting with us. And you can do it right from our website.
And you can also go to Reference Me on Instagram as well as LinkedIn. You can find us there too.
Yeah, we're in all social media circles. If you look up
TikTok.
Reference Me LLC, you'll find our videos and information as well.